Okay, Rabotai, let us get rolling. We are in the Ben Misarim, otherwise known as the 3 weeks.
The rabbi said, send the do's and don'ts, but you see me click on the phone. Do you buy new things?
Good question. I'm going to talk about it right now.
Oh, we're gonna do it right now.
Yeah. We are in yechave daat. We are in book one. Book one, Helik Aleph, is usually.
Okay, anyway, we'll address it
Yeah.
this year. But my question is not to necessities like a person needs to move, fix the cars. My question is to expression of like gift or something that's extra.
By the end of the thing, if I don't answer it, tell me and I'll answer. Helik Aleph of Yechave. Why?
Somebody from the community approached me before I went to Israel for wife gift. So I told him I'm going to Israel, but nothing be back. I'll address it.
Yeah.
Now I'm asking myself, should I even buy it now?
Ah.
It's the-
Hey, but then you got to lose money.
Huh?
You got to lose money. There's a hefsed mamon over there.
You know, I'm gonna
It's your business.
come back and you should buy it now, and then eventually if it's inappropriate.
That'll be a salesman motion. Helik Aleph Yechave daat is all about the Mu'adeh Hashana, the times, different times of the year. And so let's learn halakha today about the 3 weeks. Now, I'm sure everyone knows this, but just in case, we have increasing humrot, increasing stringencies from Sheva Asar B'Tammuz, which was Thursday, all the way until the B'Av. And so the first section that we're in right now is the easiest section, especially for Sfaradim. The easiest section of the 3 weeks is Sheva Asar B'Tammuz until Rosh Chodesh Av. And then from Rosh Chodesh Av until the end of the fast of Tisha B'Av will be the 9 days. And then after that, the week of Tisha B'Av will be Shavuot Habo, which is the most strict. So we're in the lenient period right now. So here's the question. Hayim mutal lebarech sheyechayanu al piri hadash or al beged hadash b'shabbatot sheben sheba asar b'tammuz l'Tisha B'Av or lo? Am I allowed to have a new fruit and make sheyechayanu on the fruit? Ezra, you want to come upstairs?
The Shabbatot is a reference to the week, the actual
The
Shabbat.
Shabbat. So built into the question is an understanding that he's assuming you can't do it during the weeks. And so he's saying, whoever asked this question is saying, I understand that I probably cannot wear a new garment that requires a berechav shechianu, or a new fruit that requires a berechav shechianu during the 3 weeks. But what about on Shabbat? And we did shechianu once upon a month ago, 2 months ago, we did shechianu a little bit over here. We don't make shechianu these days on every single thing that we buy. It seems if you read the Gemara and the early poskim, it seems they made shechianu for everything, a lot of things that they bought. Beged hadash, kelim hadashim. Right, that's also true. In those days, a brand new shirt, maybe you got 2 a whole year for the hagim. That's it. Nowadays, for us, we buy new things every. You don't fix anything. You have a stain in your shirt, you don't send it to the cleaners. You throw it out. You buy a new one. And so for us, we don't really make shechianu that much anymore, huh? Amazon.com, yeah, it's a throwaway society. How many repair shops do you see? Radio repair shops. If something's broken, you buy a new one. That's the way it works then. But maybe for a suit, if you buy yourself a nice new suit, Italian suit, maybe you buy yourself a new car. These things make you very, very happy. Okay. But Ezra, a new fruit, we still make shechianu. If you have a fruit that you haven't had all year, you make shechianu on this. He's in cloud 9. He's flying because he's a new grandpa. Have a nice day, Ezra. The question is, what about on the Shabbats? This coming Shabbat, it's in the 3 weeks. Am I allowed to take a brand new fruit and make shechianu, or wear a brand new suit and make shechianu? Why do we even, in general, refrain from new fruits or new garments that require a berachah shechianu in these times? Sefer Hasidim. It's not the Gemara that says not to do this. It's Sefer Hasidim. Shekatab bezu lashon, which writes as follows: Yesh me'Hasidim harishonim, from the pious earlier ones, שלא היו אוכלים פרי חדש בין י"ז בתמוז לתשעה באב. They didn't eat new fruit during this whole time. כי אמרו, they said, איך נברך שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה? How can we bless Hashem? Thank you, Hashem, for helping us to reach this moment. והוא זמן פורענות, and the moment is a bad moment. It's a troublesome moment. והוסיף בספר חסידים שם, and he adds over there, ויש שמברכים על פרי חדש בשבתות שבין 17 בתמוז לתשעה באב. Some people make the ברכה on fruit, שהחיינו, on the Shabbats. In the shoot, Binyamin Ze'ev, כתב בשם הקולבו, he writes in the name of the קולבו, יש שמסתפקים אם מברך שהחיינו על פרי חדש בימי בין המצרים. Some people are not sure if they're allowed to make שהחיינו on a new fruit during this time. כי החסידים אינם נוסעים לאכול פרי חדש. If you are Hasid, like the Yehuda Hasid writes in Sefer Hasidim, if you are Hasid, it seems like if you had a new fruit, you did not eat the new fruit, because if I eat the new fruit, it requires shechianu, and I don't want to make shechianu during this period of time, so I'm not going to eat the new fruit. כי החסידים אינם נוסעים לאכול פרי חדש, כי אינם נוסעים לומר בימי אבל וסעד שהחיינו לזמן הזה. והגאון בישראלין, בעל תרומת הדשן says, he said it's okay to say שהחיינו during the 3 weeks. תרומת הדשן. Why? Because if you have a chance to have a new fruit right now you haven't had before, and you have a chance to thank Hashem for this fruit and say Shechayanu, or have a new suit and you have a chance to thank Hashem for the suit or the car, how could you pass by it and say, no, it's okay, I'm not going to thank you, Hashem, for the fruit? You can't do that. You don't pass on a mitzvah. How do you know if you have a chance to do it in 3 weeks from now? Like we say in the pasuk, ushmatem et matzot, you should have watched the matzot, and we read it, ushmatem et mitzvot. You don't want to make your mitzvot hametz, right? If the matzah, if you wait too long, 18 minutes, it becomes hametz, you lost the matzah. So too with mitzvot. It's the same spelling of the word. The mitzvot, you wait too long, you're going to lose the whole mitzvah. And so we do mitzvot quick, right away. Okay. Maran Shulchan Aruch writes, these are the words of Maran Shulchan Aruch. Tov lehizaher milomar shehayanu. Now, tov lehizaher, he doesn't say asur. Tov lehizaher, it is good to be careful. Milomar shehayanu b'meh ben hamisarim, from saying shehayanu in these 3 weeks of time, al beged hadash, on a new garment, or al pri hadash, or on a new fruit. Abal pidyon haben v'rech shehayanu. If you have a simcha like pidyon haben, you're going to say shehayanu, obviously. But you cannot let the mitzvah that comes to your hand spoil. Tov lizahed. It's good to be careful, Maran Shulchan says. On this, the Taz writes, the Rama writes, if you have a fruit that you can only get now, 3 weeks from now, it's going to be out of stock. The fruit, the grocer tells you, I'm not going to have this fruit in 3 weeks from now, and it's not going to last 3 weeks. So what do? Do you take the fruit and you make the beracha, or you just pass? The Rama says, take the fruit and make the beracha. He writes, the Taz writes, from this reason, you could do it on every day, not only Shabbat, even the weekdays, today. You can make shehayanu on a new fruit. The Shema Yamut Has B'Shalom. Kodem Shekayim Zvazu. Has B'Shalom. How do you know you're going to live tomorrow? You don't know. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. You have a chance to do it today, do it today. Okay. The Hagra, the Gaon Vilna, the Gaon Eliyahu, he writes, Humna Yeterahi. This is a very extra stringency from Maran Shulchan Aruch to be careful not to bless Shehayanu. The Gra writes, it's a Humna, it's very strict. She'en Yamim Elu Hamunim Yoter Me'ebel B'yom Mitah. You can't say that these 3 weeks should be worse than Abelut, of God forbid someone who loses the loved one. We say in the Gemara and the Shulchan Aruch, if someone passes away, and this person that passed away, he left you a very large inheritance, and you're the only heir, because you just got a big windfall. Even though you're sad that you lost someone, you just inherited $10 million. So you make shehayanu. So how could you say the 3 weeks is worse than losing a loved one? We lost a building, which was very big. We lost a shekhinah, yes, to a certain extent. You can't say it's worse than losing a loved one. Mamash abilut.
That's a strange claim.
That's what the Gra writes.
It's strange.
Why?
If you lose a loved one, losing a loved one, unless there is a tragedy involved, it's something. It's the cycle of life. We should be play on it.
I know, but
Okay, so it's painful,
I
but
think
it's not. But here the Am Yisrael, the whole Am Yisrael is not where it's
you,
supposed
but
to
you
be.
must be on a very high minded. I think if you asked 99 out of 100 people in the street, religious people, they would say they're much more sad when they lose a loved one than losing the Beit HaMikdash
I'm not
2,000 years
defending
ago.
anybody else, but I think that the teaching should be teaching us to understand it differently. Whether we practice it directly,
But we're learning from Avilut. We lost the building. We need to mourn. How should we mourn? So we copy Avilut. Just a mourner doesn't listen to music. We don't listen to music, right?
all that we say is Hashem Hashem.
No, it's big. I'm not trying to downgrade the Beit HaMikdash. Chas v'shalom. I know, but we learn it from Avilut. Avilut teaches us. It's the mikor of these laws. How could it be? How could the what is it called? How could the nidun be greater than the what's the phrase? How could the second thing be greater than the first?
The national Avilut be greater than the personal.
Which is where we learn all the halachot from.
Yeah, but I think it's more than just Avilut.
So this is what the Gemara says, Nataz. The Magen Avraham Katav, Magen Avraham writes, Sha'atam shelo lebarech shechianu b'mei ben ha'mesarim, shu zeman pur'anut. This reason that you shouldn't make shechianu because it's a troubled time for us. And how could you say, Hashem, thank you, shechianu, you made us live. You brought us to this time when this is a very sad time. There's nothing to do with Abilut, says the Taz. It says the Magen Avraham, like you're saying. Where does it say that Abel can say Shechianu? So it must be, it's a whole different set of laws, like you're saying. Nothing to do with Abilut. Who's Mahloket, Magen Avraham and the Taz and the Gra. The Arizal writes in Sha'ar HaKavanot, Asur le'echol peri hadash, or le'lbosh beged hadash, be'ben ha'mesarim. The Arizal says you can't eat a new fruit or wear new garments in the whole 3 weeks. Because you can't make this beracha shechianu. Now we have the Kabbalistic opinion. Va'afilu, says the Arizal, even on the Shabbats in the 3 weeks, says the Arizal, you should be strict and not do it. And so says the Hida as well in his Sefer Haim Shal. However, in the Sefer Matei Moshe, he writes, that if you want to be lenient and make Shechianu on the Shabbatot, which is neged, opposite the Arizal, it's okay, you're not going to lose, it's fine. Hagaon Yosef Yuzfa writes in the Sefer Yosef Ometz, mitzvah lehakel. He says, not only are you allowed to be lenient on Shabbat in these 3 weeks, it's a mitzvah to be lenient. Even if the Tisha B'Av was on Saturday, which has to be pushed off, on that Saturday, mitzvah to take a new fruit and make shechianu, or a new suit and make shechianu. We say in Gemara Ta'anit, Tisha B'Av shehal b'Shabbat. If Tisha B'Av fell on Shabbat and was pushed off, on that Saturday, ochel basar v'shoteh yain u'ma'aleh al shulchano afilu kisirudat shlomo b'shat machuto. You eat like a king. If Tisha B'Av was on Saturday and pushed off, you don't say, oh, it was supposed to be Tisha B'Av today, so it should be, no, that Saturday you eat like a king. It's like Shlomo HaMelech. We don't mourn on Shabbat, ever. And so therefore, he says it's a mitzvah, even on that Saturday, to take out if you have a fruit that you haven't had in a long time, make the shechianu. If you have a soup, put it on. The Chem Pasak Shulchan Aruch agrees that you don't mourn on Shabbat. There's no mourning on Shabbat at all. Therefore, on these Shabbats right now, you should indeed make shechianu, and you should eat the fruit and wear the soup. He also writes the same thing, that it's allowed, and as well writes the Ketab Sofer, and a lot of others, Mishnah Berurah, Rabbi Yoel Unger, and Matei Levi, all agree that you should be lenient. Even though the Arizal says you shouldn't, we should do it on the Shabbat, and yes, you should do it. ולעניין הלכה, for the bottom line, for the halacha למעשה, נראה, it seems, שבהיו שאין דבר זה אסור מדין תלמוד, since this whole stringency is not from the Talmud, it's not from the Gemara, it's רק מספר החסידים, כמו שכתוב בספר החסידים and the Kobo, and also Maran Shulchan Aruch, he writes with the language like we said, Tov li zaher, it's good to refrain. It doesn't say it's asur. Mashma shedato she'en bazeh ela humna be'ama. It seems it's only a stringency. It's not asur. If someone asks you a question, is it forbidden? You can't say it's forbidden to make a blessing on a new fruit in the 3 weeks. You have to be honest. It's not forbidden. It's good to be strict. Says you should definitely not be strict for Shabbatot, on Shabbat. It's already enough to be strict on the weekdays. Because you have to enjoy the Shabbat. And so therefore, okay, the weekdays, like today, we'll be strict. And we won't wear the new suit or drive the new car that requires Shehiyanu. But on Shabbat, Oneg Shabbat, we're not going to be strict. If you look at the Sefer HaManhig, he writes, Yom HaShabbat to Yom Simcha ve'oneg. Shabbat is a very happy day. ולכן תשוב בספרי in פרשת בעלותיך, וביום שמחתכם ובמועדיכם, on your happy days. What is Yom Simchatchem? We just said Mu'adichem. Yom Simchatchem ubmu'adichem. On your happy days and on your holidays. The holidays are the happy days. What is the happy days? Happy days is Shabbat. Yom Simchatchem is Shabbat. That's why we say in Tefillat Shabbat, Yismehu b'malchutach, you should be happy with your work, Shomerei Shabbat, the people who keep Saturday, V'korei oneg, and you call it joyful or pleasurable. Am Kadesheh Shvi'i, the nation who sanctify Shabbat. And it says straight out in Gemara Yerushalayim, Megillah, Simcha noheget b'Shabbat, we are very happy on Shabbat. So there's no reason, says the Chacham Ovadia, to be strict on Shabbat. Okay. Maran Ahida, who originally wrote like the Arizal in his other Sefer, Hayim Sha'al, Maran Ahida writes in his other Sefer, Hida wrote millions of Sefarim. I think the Hida wrote like 50 or 60 Sefarim. The Hida wrote in the Sefer Yosef Ometz, Hebi Ma'aseh Rav, he brings an actual story that happened with Harab HaGaol of Hayim Vital, the student of the Arizal. So the Arizal was quoted on the last page as being strict even on Shabbat. And the Hida took the Arizal's approach. And then this other Sefer, Yosef Ometz, he quotes a story from the student of the Arizal, of Hayim Vital. Achal peri hadash b'Shabbat shebetoch yemei ben hamisanim. He actually, they saw him eat a brand new fruit with Shehiyanu in Shabbat of the 3 weeks. And so either he didn't listen to his Rebbe, the Arizal, or maybe the Arizal quote is misquoted. B'chel eskim na'akel, Hagon Rabbi Yehuda Ayash, in the Sefer Bet Yehuda, agrees that you should be lenient and you should allow this on Shabbat. And also Rav Moshe Shtarug, and also, let's see what he says. Rav Moshe Shtarug says, Afa pi sheyesh noagim leimana melebalech shehiyanu afilu b'Shabbatot k'dibrei ha'arizal, even though a lot of people keep this Arizal and don't do it on Shabbat, anu mikubalim and abotenu, we have a tradition from our rabbis, sheyesh lebalech shehiyanu b'Shabbatot shebnatayim. You should say the Berachah Shehiyanu, v'chen anu noagim, and that's the halacha, that's the custom. Okay. Omnam, however, Eliyah Rabbah writes the Halek Bazeh to argue. Shedafka bepri hadash yesh lehakel. The Eliyah Rabbah says, okay, fine. Let's allow the new fruit during the 3 weeks on Shabbat. Abba b'malbush hadash, but a new garment, no. Yesh bo simcha yetera. It's happier for you to have a new suit than a new fruit. And so that's too happy for the Eliyah Rabbah. So Eliyah Rabbah says, the new fruit will allow on Shabbat, but the new suit, no. Velachin asad le'lebosh beged hadash b'Shabbatot. The Eliyah Rabbah said, asur to wear the new clothes, even on Shabbat. However, in the Sefer Daat Sofer, nistapik bazeh l'maaseh. He wasn't sure if we should follow this Eliyah Rabbah. Says the Chacham Ovadia, abal ner'eh the halacha she'ha'ikar k'divrei ha'aronim she'matirim lebalech shehiyanu b'chol ofan b'Shabbatot shebinatayim ben al peri hadash u'ben al beged hadash. Sorry, the Eliyah Rabbah. Chacham Ovadia says halacha l'maaseh. We have enough support to say the new fruit, the new suit, the new shoes, it's all permitted on the Shabbats of the 3 weeks. ובפרט כשיש צורך בדבר משום כבוד שבת. Especially if you have a tzorech, you need this for Shabbat. You cannot take away the kibot Shabbat for this extra stringency. Ulam, however, le'achar Rosh Chodesh Av, the Shabbat that's after Rosh Chodesh Av, the Shabbat inside the 9 days, shemima'et b'simcha, which that whole time is even sadder time for us. In the bush begadim hadashim af b'Shabbat, try to not wear the new clothes and not Shabbat. So this coming Shabbat, yes. Yesterday, yes. After Rosh Chodesh Av, when you're in the 9 days, better to be strict like the other ones. Try to follow what the Ramah said. Even according to Maran Shulchan Aruch, which he says is allowed. And Maran Shulchan Aruch says, according to Sfaradim, Maran Shulchan Aruch writes, Sfaradim are only not allowed to wear new clothes on the week of Tisha B'Av. The week of. That's the halakha.
But here also weekdays, not on Shabbat.
Yes.
Even though we're doing Shabbat.
Well, no, because now we're talking about clothes, not special clothes for Shechianu. A shirt. This whole time we're talking about Shechianu clothes. That's a higher clothes. This is any clothes without Shechianu. Right? So Maran Shulchan
wasn't when they were writing it, wasn't any new garment Shechianu.
No, not every new garment. Not every new garment. So Maran Shulchan Aruch writes, then in the 9 days, in the week of Tisha B'Av, you shouldn't wear the new clothes. And agreeing with this is Rabbi Yehuda Ayash, like we said. Mikom Makom, even though Maran Shulchan Aruch is lenient, Nachon La'achmir, it's really nice and proper to be strict. Af l'dinan, for us, that you shouldn't wear the new suit before the 9 days and after the 9 days. You could wear the new suit before the 9 days and after the 9 days not to. If you did wear the new suit after the 9 days, even on the weekdays, it's probably allowed, according to Maran Shulchan Aruch, for sure on Shabbat. And so when people ask you questions, this is always a struggle, right? When people ask you what's the halakha, in my opinion, you have to give them the halakha. And so if someone asks you the halakha l'maaseh, am I allowed to wear this new suit on Shabbat? Or on any weekday? Yes or no? The answer is right now, you can wear the new suit today, really, if you want to. However, it's proper, because there are some people who say you shouldn't, to wait for Shabbat. Or the new shoes that you just bought. Very nice shoes, which bring you a lot of joy. Not sandals. Nice new shoes. It's allowed to from the letter of the law, but it's really proper to wait for Shabbat. However, the Shabbat in the 9 days, even the 9 days, you should really try your best not to wear it at all. If you need to, your shoes are broken, whatever, you have a simcha, you have a bar mitzvah or something, you have a lot to rely upon, even on the weekdays. But the week of Tisha B'Av, that's already where we draw the line and we say, no, halakha is no. And he finishes off and he says, Hashem yiparach, ya'apoch lanu et yimei ben mesarim l'sason l'simcha, u'l-mu'adim tovim. Hashem should flip the 9 days, flip this time, the 3 weeks, from sad days into happy days only, which we will make Shechianu all the time. So halakha l'ma'aseh is, it is allowed from the letter of the law to make the berachah Shechianu in the 3 weeks. We try not to from the 9 days, including Shabbat. Before the 9 days, we are allowed to on Shabbat especially, and we try not to during the weekdays. You got it? Now, buying new stuff.
Wait, we went through the whole Shabbat. Then you concluded that say you were allowed in the 3 weeks. So even the weekdays.
Even the weekdays, me'ikar halakha, it's allowed. Maran Shulchan Aruch doesn't say asur. It says tov lihi zahir. Try not to. Because that's the words of Maran. Tov lihi zahir. He says it's good to be careful not to. He doesn't say, if it was forbidden, he would say asur. He doesn't say asur. And so you have to, when you give it halakha, it's the halakha. Halakha is it's allowed. However, we really encourage you not to. And so try to do it on Shabbat. Right? Now you asked about buying things in general. So Chamadah says, right now, in the period of time we're in right now, you can buy things. If you can hold off and not use it yet, then do that and use it later. If you have a good deal now, for sure, lock in the deal. If you can hold off and not use it, don't use it yet until afterwards the 3 weeks. All right? But if you want to and wear it on Shabbat, then the same halakha applies. If it's this coming Shabbat, no problem. If it's the Shabbat after Rosh Chodesh Av, which is the Shabbat inside the 9 days, really better not to. Make sense? Okay, yalla. Hey, Itai.
Like,